There's a reason your name exists. It carries your purpose, your assignment, and your authority. But until it's activated in the right atmosphere, your potential remains untapped. Today we're going deep, not just into water, but into spiritual principles that unlock divine flow. You've asked for breakthrough. Now prepare to understand the power behind the process. Your name is not just a label, it's a declaration. It's a sound in the universe that represents who you are, what you're called to do, and the authority you've been given to move in your assignment. Every time your name is spoken, something in the atmosphere responds to it. But let me ask you, have you responded to it? Do you know what's in your name? Because the truth is, many people are walking around with power they've never accessed, identity they've never discovered, and purpose they've never activated. Putting your name in salt water isn't just about ritual, it's about revelation. Salt has always been symbolic of purity, preservation, and covenant. Water symbolic of life, renewal, and divine flow. When you place your name, your identity, into something as spiritually significant as salt water, you're making a statement. I'm ready to purify my identity. I'm ready to preserve my purpose. I'm ready to renew the flow of my destiny. This isn't superstition, this is symbolic activation. Too many people want results without revelation. They want the miracle, but they don't want the meaning. You can't walk in authority if you don't first understand the weight your name carries. Your name is the handle heaven uses to deliver favor. Your name is the key that unlocks divine doors, but only when it's been surrendered, sanctified, and aligned with your purpose. Some of you have let people rename you. Life has renamed you failure, forgotten, fearful. But I dare you to reclaim your name tonight. Speak it with purpose. Place it in a space of purity. Call it out loud and watch what starts to shift. Because once your name is positioned in purity, everything connected to it, your calling, your relationships, your resources, has to come into order. You've been called, but have you answered? Now here's where it gets deeper. Because salt and water are just the start. The next step will demand something most people aren't willing to do. But those who do it, they unlock a level of breakthrough that changes everything. Salt water is not just something you find in the ocean. It's something ancient civilizations used for cleansing, healing, and covenant. It was never ordinary. It was always sacred. But let me ask you, what if what you thought was symbolic is actually strategic? What if salt water isn't about superstition, but about alignment? Salt preserves. It purifies. It heals. And when you mix that with water, something that represents the flow of life, the essence of spirit, you're not just holding a mixture, you're holding a message. When you put your name into salt water, you're not trying to manipulate the universe. You're declaring, I'm ready to be cleansed of what no longer serves me. I'm ready for what is sacred to surround me. That's not magic, that's spiritual law. Some of you are asking for new blessings while holding on to old bitterness. You're praying for healing but refusing to release habits that made you sick in the first place. That's why purification is essential. You can't step into overflow when your cup is still filled with contamination. Salt water doesn't just symbolize a shift. It initiates one, a line in the sand, a spiritual confrontation. Will you stay where you've been? Or will you let this moment wash away what you were never meant to carry? This is where many people stop. They want results without cleansing. They want the spotlight, but not the sanctification. But hear me. You cannot carry divine favor in a defiled vessel. Something has to give. Something has to be let go. The salt will sting, the water will reveal, but both are necessary for what's next. This isn't about being mystical. It's about being intentional. Every act of purification makes room for elevation. The cleaner the vessel, the clearer the vision. So when you place your name into salt water, don't just expect healing, expect awakening. Expect realignment. Expect disruption. Because salt doesn't just sit there quietly. It changes everything it touches. But here's the part nobody wants to talk about. Purification is only the beginning. Because once you're clean, now the real question is, can you handle the discipline that comes with desire? Spiritual laws don't change just because we don't understand them. They don't adapt to our emotions. They don't bend to our preferences. They are fixed, unchanging, unshaken, and unapologetically true. Just like gravity doesn't care whether you believe in it or not, spiritual laws operate with that same level of authority. So, here's the question. Are you aligned with them or are you fighting against them? You can't break a spiritual law. You can only break yourself trying to ignore it. Some people are praying for success, but they violate the law of honor. Some want abundance, but they refuse to release. Some are desperate for healing, but they won't let go of offense. See, spiritual laws are not random. They are rooted in divine order. And any time your life is out of order, it's a sign you're out of alignment. The reason your name in salt water has spiritual weight is because it honors a law of intention and a law of purity. It's not the water that works. It's your alignment with what it represents. Heaven does not respond to confusion. It responds to clarity. Until you're clear on who you are, what you carry, and the laws you must honor, you'll keep circling the same mountain, asking for things you're not positioned to receive. You don't get to receive harvest in a season where you refuse to plant. You don't get to claim promises while violating principles. That's not how this works. You want breakthrough? Then check your alignment. Look at your relationships, your thoughts, your habits. Are they in agreement with spiritual truth, or are they convenient for your comfort? Salt water without obedience is just a bath. But salt water with alignment, that's activation, that's covenant, that's clarity. And let me tell you this, once you begin to align with divine order, things will begin to shift. People will fall away. Habits will lose taste. Environments will start to feel uncomfortable. Why? Because when the law starts to work in you, everything that violates it has to go. But this is where it gets real. Because alignment opens the door, but what walks through it is desire. And here's the test. Do you have the discipline to carry what you're asking for? Desire without discipline is just a distraction dressed in emotion. Everybody wants something. Everybody's praying, hoping, believing, crying out, I want more, I want better, I want breakthrough. But what good is desire if there's no structure to carry it? What good is wanting something if you haven't prepared your life to hold it, to protect it, to multiply it? Desire alone doesn't move heaven. Discipline does. Discipline is proof that your desire is not just emotional, it's intentional. You can't say you want peace and then keep inviting chaos into your environment. You can't say you want favor while violating the very principles that attract it. Wanting is easy. Everybody wants, but very few are willing to do what it takes. That's why salt water matters. That's why alignment matters. Because once you've purified your identity and brought yourself into alignment with divine order, the next step is maintaining that flow, and that requires discipline. Discipline is not punishment. Discipline is protection. It guards the door to your destiny. It teaches your emotions to follow your spirit instead of running the show. You want success? Structure your day. You want elevation? Sacrifice your comfort. You want freedom? Commit to consistency. Because the universe doesn't give you what you dream, it gives you what you're disciplined to handle. There are some blessings that are delayed, not because God said no, but because your habit said, I'm not ready yet. And don't get it twisted. Discipline is not just about routine. It's about resistance. Can you say no when it's easier to say yes? Can you keep walking when the feelings wear off? Can you remain faithful when no one is watching? That's discipline. And discipline is what separates wishful thinkers from powerful manifestors. But here's the challenge. Discipline will expose your attachments. It will show you what you've been clinging to that's keeping you from climbing higher. Because once you begin living with discipline, distractions won't just leave quietly, they'll fight to stay. And that's why what comes next is so important. Because before manifestation can happen, something must die. Are you ready to go through the fire of purification to become who you were always meant to be? Purification always comes before possession. You don't get to inherit what you're not prepared to carry. You don't get to walk in promise while still dragging around poison. That's why so many people feel stuck, not because the blessing isn't available, but because the vessel isn't ready. The fire isn't there to destroy you, it's there to remove what doesn't belong in the next version of you. You want the new? Then the old must burn. You want possession? Then purification must begin. You've got to be willing to confront what's been contaminating your spirit. The bitterness, the ego, the fear, the need for control. It all has to be surrendered. Because no matter how many rituals you do, no matter how many times you pray, if the inner life isn't clean, the outer life will always reflect confusion. Salt water is symbolic, yes, but its meaning runs deep. Salt doesn't just purify, it exposes. It reveals what's been hidden. It pulls the toxins to the surface. And when you put your name in that kind of environment, you're saying, I'm ready for exposure. I'm ready for refining. I'm ready to let go of anything that blocks what's mine. And that's not a cute spiritual gesture, that's a dangerous one. Because purification hurts before it heals. But hear this, purification is not punishment. It's preparation. It's the hand of grace shaping you into a vessel that can handle overflow without breaking under the weight. You've been asking for things, big things, without realizing that what you're asking for requires a stronger, cleaner, more aligned version of you. And that version doesn't come cheap. It comes through fire, it comes through pressure, it comes through surrender. This is where most people tap out. This is where the crowd gets thinner because they want possession without the process. They want crowns without crosses, but not you, not anymore. You've come too far to go back now. You're being cleansed, stretched, refined for something greater than you can even imagine. But before you can fully receive what's waiting for you, you've got to learn how to activate it. Because purification prepares the space, but only faith with action can open the door. Are you ready for what's next? Faith without action is nothing more than fantasy. And action without intention is just motion with no meaning. If you want to see the invisible become visible, then your belief must be married to movement, and your movement must be guided by purpose. You can pray, meditate, visualize, declare, but if there's no action to follow it, you're not manifesting, you're just daydreaming. Spiritual results are not random. They are the consequence of alignment, activation, and action. That's why so many people feel frustrated. They've got the faith. They've purified their space. They've even disciplined their time. But they're still waiting. Because the missing ingredient is often obedient movement. Not just doing something, but doing what's required. Doing what's aligned. Doing what's assigned. You don't just believe something and sit down. No. You believe it, then you move toward it. You step out. You take the risk. You stretch past your comfort. Faith is not proven in words. It's proven in your walk. It's when you sow, even though the field looks empty. It's when you prepare the room, even before the opportunity shows up. It's when you act like it's already done because you trust the source more than your situation. Salt water represents cleansing, yes. But what happens after the cleansing? There must be movement. You've purified your name, aligned with spiritual law, committed to discipline, endured the fire. Now it's time to activate. Heaven responds to obedience. The universe moves for the prepared. Nothing changes until something moves. And the greatest movement? The first step. The courage to say, I believe, and I'm ready to back it up with my life. This is where intention matters, because if your actions aren't connected to your purpose, you'll find yourself busy but not fruitful, moving but not progressing. Your action must be fused with clarity. Why are you doing it? Who are you doing it for? And what is the result you're believing for? Now get ready. Because once you start moving with intention, doors begin to open that no man can shut. But movement attracts momentum, and momentum shakes systems. The next level is not just about identity, it's about authority. And the question now is, does the atmosphere recognize your name? The universe doesn't respond to noise, it responds to identity. It doesn't move because you cry or shout or complain. It moves when your name carries authority. You can't fake authority in the spirit. You can't borrow someone else's voice, someone else's power, someone else's process, and expect results. Heaven responds to the authentic version of you, the one that knows who they are, the one that walks boldly in truth, the one that understands my name has weight. But here's the problem. Many people are living loud, but they're living unnamed. They've lost their true identity. They've accepted the labels of the world, the wounds of the past, the limitations of people who never saw their worth. And now they're wondering why things don't shift when they speak, why doors don't open when they knock. It's not because they're unworthy. It's because their name has been buried under noise. Your name is your authority. It's the essence of who you are, divinely assigned before you were ever formed. When you place your name in salt water, you're not just engaging in a ritual, you're reactivating your original identity. You're saying, let every false label fall. Let every false identity be washed away. I am who I was created to be, and I claim the authority that comes with that truth. You can't walk in destiny with a borrowed name. You can't cast out confusion while calling yourself by what others called you. You must reclaim your name, not just the one written on paper, but the one heaven recognizes. Because once your name is known in the spirit, hell trembles. The atmosphere aligns, doors open, cycles break. Why? Because your name has become a signal, a sound that commands change. But don't stop there. Identity gives you access, yes. But there's something deeper. Once the atmosphere recognizes your name, it will test it. It will press against it. It will ask, do you really believe who you say you are? That's why the next phase is critical. Because now, it's not just about identity. It's about endurance. Can you stand when the shaking starts? Can you hold your ground when everything around you shifts? Endurance is not just the ability to survive storms. It's the strength to stand in purpose while the storm is still raging. Anybody can praise when the skies are clear, when the doors open, when the miracles show up. But what happens when things shake? What happens when the ground beneath your feet starts to tremble and everything you've built is tested? That's where real identity is proven. That's where spiritual authority is refined. The atmosphere may recognize your name, but now it wants to know, can you hold your position under pressure? Because pressure always comes before promotion. Shaking always comes before shifting. And if your faith isn't rooted, if your purpose isn't clear, if your spirit isn't anchored, you crumble under what was designed to catapult you. The shaking isn't there to destroy you. It's there to strip away what doesn't belong. It's there to reveal the unshakable parts of you. The truth is, some doors can't open until everything unstable has fallen. Some blessings won't land until the distractions are gone. And the only way to reach that place is to endure the shaking with unwavering resolve. Endurance isn't glamorous. It's not loud. It doesn't always feel powerful. Sometimes it's just getting up again. Sometimes it's holding on with silent strength. Sometimes it's saying, I still believe, even when everything looks like it's falling apart. But in that moment, right there, that's when heaven leans in. That's when the universe starts to shift in your favor. You've gone through purification. You've aligned with truth. You've disciplined your desire. You've reclaimed your name. Now, stand. Hold your ground. Declare with authority, I will not be moved. Because on the other side of endurance is everything you were made for. So let the storm rage. Let the winds blow. You are not who you were. You've been transformed, tested, and anchored. Your name carries weight. Your purpose has been purified. And your future is calling. Now walk forward with boldness. Speak with clarity. Move with intention. Because everything you've been praying for is already looking for you.